Greetings FCTV viewers. I'm Jayne Spooner and I'm a University of Minnesota Master Gardener here in Rice County. And we're here in my front yard today. Here it is, the beginning of September. And just when you think your gardening season is about to come to an end with just a little cleanup, I'm here to kind of tell you, well, not really. It just depends on what you need to do in your garden. Of course, there's the cleanup of cleaning out your containers, cutting back your perennials, cleaning out your vegetable garden if you have one. But September is also a great time to take stock of what's going on in your garden, to take a look at the perennials growing in your garden. So here we are in my front yard, and I have this daylily here, this clump of daylilies. And what's happening is it's starting to encroach on a bush there. It's been in the ground probably 8 or 9 years, and I've never divided it because it was pretty small. And so I'm taking a look at it, that it probably needs to be divided. And that way it's a little bit smaller, it doesn't encroach on that bush, plus it'll give me a little room to kind of plant something else. And another thing to do when you're looking at plants that you think might need to be divided is you're gonna watch their blooms, because if there's not blooming quite as profusely as they have before, well, part of it is there's a lot of energy going to that root system because it's really big and it's not producing the blooms, or it's kind of like buying a new pair of shoes. You know, my feet feel really good in these, but it still kind of hurts, so I just want some room. I want some room to grow. And also, you might see in some perennials, you'll see a bald spot in the center of it. You won't have as much foliage there, and if the plant gets to a certain size, it flops over, and it just doesn't look nice in your flower bed. And another good reason to divide is the fact that it's a great way to get extra plants for your garden. You can cut them up and move them around to different areas, or you can share them with your friends. So here I am with my daylily. I planted this probably 8 or 9 years ago, I don't even remember. And just for the purposes of this filming, I kind of took the opportunity to already dig it up because it's quite large, and you would have probably watched me for 15-20 minutes try and get it out of the ground. So what I did was just take a spade, and I continued to go all the way around and just loosen that dirt so I could get the whole root ball. As you can see, that root ball is quite large and quite heavy. So now what do I do with it? I've got a big hole and I got a big plant. So for daylilies, one of the best ways to do it is to just take a shovel or take a knife. I have kind of this root slayer thing, but this is kind of a big root ball to divide. So all I'm going to do is going to take this. This is just kind of an edger thing that I use when I'm want to have a nice clean edge around some of my garden beds. And I'm just going to insert it in the middle. And try and break this apart. You can also, if you've got a couple of garden forks, you can also use those, putting them back to back. And then pulling them apart. So it does take a little bit of work. And also, if you notice, I am wearing full tennis shoes, so I'm going to give you a little safety tip here. I've worked in manufacturing for the last 20 plus years, and every meeting always started with a safety tip. So when you're doing this kind of work in your garden, make sure you use closed-toed shoes. Don't be out here with a pair of flip-flops. There we go. It's a great way. Also, you don't have to do your weight training after you're done with this, so it's a good workout. So there's one half of it. Oh, some old siding. And then I'll take and cut it. You can see the root system here is really fleshy. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it one more time. The second one's always a little easier. And then let's take and knock off some of the dirt back into the hole. You can knock off some of the dead stuff there. And then just put a little bit of compost in the bottom. Stick it right back in there, and because there was a lot of dirt that I pulled out of here, I just have to rake this back down. And yeah, it's okay if the mulch goes in there because that will decompose. I'm going to need some more, as you can see, just to kind of fill it up, but just for the purposes of this demonstration, give you a good idea. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to water it in really well. The great thing about doing it this time of year, you don't have as many hot days, so the transplant shock will be less. By doing it early September, you really want to get it done, about 4 to 6 weeks before your first frost. Every year that varies, but a good rule of thumb is to do it at the beginning, no later than the first week of October. You're going to be pretty safe. So get that all mulched in and watered in. I wouldn't put any fertilizer on it because fertilizer a lot of times will promote more growth, and you want that root system to grow in. So just if it's really warm out and the ground is dry, make sure you keep it watered because you want that root system to be established. And then next spring, got a little more room, plus you've got a few more plants to put around in other sections of your garden. Or I always have people that want some of my flowers because they're always a little bit different. My kids are actually into gardening, so I'll be sharing with those. And there you go. That's how to divide a big perennial. And it is a lot of work, I will guarantee it. So, and not every perennial is good to divide at this time of year. There are some that would prefer to be done in the spring, and some can be done either or spring. One of some of the best ones to do at this time of year, of course, are daylilies. Hostas are great to do at this time of year. Cone flowers, goat's beard. I mean, there's a whole bunch of them. And I'll be sending to my videographer here, Troy, a whole listing of how often you should divide, when you should divide, and it's a nice detailed list that comes from the University of Minnesota Extension. So there you go. Sorry, I'm out of breath. But so yeah, gardening is a lot of work, but you know what, in the end, the fruits of our labor, as you can see, I'm kind of standing in my front garden. My black-eyed Susans here are blooming. My perennial hibiscus, this was new this year, and it's just fabulous. So these are the things that I enjoy. So that's all I have for today with the Great Divide, as I like to call it. So go out there, check what your garden's doing, and it's a great time to get out there and enjoy some sunshine while the sun shines before the snow flies, and dig and divide those perennials and get them planted. So happy fall, everybody, and happy digging.